Hi, I'm Lynette, and Lynette is just a girl who grew up in a not so rough neighborhood actually. I had a not too bad life growing up, but just experiences led into kind of troubled teenage life with low confidence and low self-esteem. Eventually contracted HIV in 2008 as a result of unsafe sex, and I just use my story to go back and just encourage those people who may be walking in my footsteps. And together, along with Kesha and a few others, we joined the Speakers of Life.
Hi, my name is Kesha, and I am a mother, a wife, a sister, a cousin, a friend. And I've been married for 10 years, and I've been with my husband for over 17 years. And today, we were contracted with HIV back in 2013, and we use our stories to help others to get through the rough times and the tough times of our diagnosis.
I ain't that shit. It's about self-empowerment. It's about self-awareness. It's about self-respect.
Welcome back to another episode of I Ain't That Chick. I am your host, Lynette, and we are talking about a sensitive topic today. I do want you to pay attention. I do want you to share this episode with someone. So I am here with two fantastic, lovely, wonderful, powerful ladies today. Please introduce yourselves again to our audience.
Hi, I'm Lynette, and you'll get to know a whole lot about me within these next few, between in this time.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Kesha.
And Kesha, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am 34 years old now. I'm a mother, a sister, a friend. I've been with my husband for 17 years, and we've been married for 10 years.
Okay. So, ladies, we are going to jump right into it. In your intro, you talked about your organization, Speakers of Life. So, we're going to start out with Speakers of Life. Tell me a little bit about it and what it is, what you do, and how you got there.
Okay, well, the Speakers of Life, we go out and we educate the community on HIV and AIDS. How we got started with that was, 2013? 2013, we were actually part of a different group with a bunch of speakers.
Okay.
And over time, some of those speakers kind of fell off, and we were the last of those speakers who just kind of stuck around. Obviously, it's because this is how God wanted it to be. So.
It's purpose. I Ain't That Chick. I'm a firm believer that every woman has a story, and women empower women when they share their stories. You ladies have a story, and I want you briefly, both of you guys, to take me into your story.
Okay. Well, like I said, I've been with my husband for 17 years, and just recently, 3 years ago, we both were diagnosed with HIV. So that means someone stepped out. And my husband, he speaks along with us, and he tells his story how he stepped out of the marriage, but he's using his stepping out to share with others how not to make that same mistake.
Okay. So, because we have to. So, you get a diagnosis. You've been with your husband how many years?
For 17 years.
And then so you both go and get an exam or get tested. Did anything prompt you to go get tested, or it was just a routine exam?
Well, we were both working at the same job.
Okay.
For 1 year. They did a whole company layoff. We didn't have an insurance, so I'm not a fan of the free clinics.
Okay.
So once insurance picked up, I said to my husband, I made the appointment, let's go, make sure you get everything done. Once I said everything done, he knew to include HIV.
Okay.
So, and that's where we got our diagnosis.
So when you get the results back and you didn't step out, how did, take me to that moment. How did you feel?
Hurt. You know, the person that was there to protect me actually exposed me to something that should have never came through.
And so what do you say to your husband at that point?
It's going to be okay.
That's what you say to him?
Mm-hmm. It's going to be okay. We're going to get through this. Only because I am a believer that God can make anything, great, no matter what situation you're in.
And I ask you that because a lot of women, a lot of sisters especially watching, and I'm sure you've heard this, would be done, would be gone.
I thought of that. But then, I didn't want to be part of that statistic where I'm a single mother raising kids. Kids need both of their parents at home. Why not show your kids how to deal with certain situations? If you come, if you're on the road and you're coming through that bump, that obstacle? Why not show them how to get through things? So why not just, say, well, I'm done with him and just leave it alone and, we're in separate homes? Why do all that? When you can give them, the kids these days, they don't listen to what you say. They watch everything you do.
So what was the level of trust like after that?
It was hard. You can't trust anyone like that overnight. Trust takes time.
Have you forgiven your husband?
Yes, I have.
That's love.
Love does that.
That's unconditional.
Agape.
Wow. Yeah. So tell me your story.
Oh, my story. Well, I was diagnosed November 2008, and it was actually as a result of me being in an abusive relationship. And this was one of many, many, many relationships that I had been in, or situationships. Hear some people using that, and I use it a lot.
I like that.
Actually, my husband likes to use it a lot.
Okay.
But this was one of many of those relationships that were not good situations. And this was an abusive relationship that I was in. I was being physically, mentally, emotionally abused, just everything all the way around the board. And I was subjecting myself to so many things that I always used to say, I would never. So over time, I've learned never say never.
Never say never.
Because I said I would never let a man put his hands on me. I would never let a man talk down to me. I would never let a man use me. And here I was in this situation, with all of that stuff going on. And I knew he was stepping out cheating on me. I knew it because over time, during that year and a half that we were together, I had contracted 2 other STDs prior to HIV. I had multiple females call my phone, everything. March of 2008, I got really, really sick. I got strep throat, stomach virus, the flu, my blood pressure dropped, and I was dehydrated all at the same time. So I wound up going to the hospital, being treated for each individual thing, but they never tested me for HIV. So that was March of 2008. We were still together at that point. He kind of helped nurse me back to health over 2 months. I lost about 15 to 20 pounds in that time frame from being so sick, not being able to eat. June of 2008 was our last really rough episode. He hit me. He tore up my apartment. I had to send my kids to my neighbors who I didn't even know. But luckily she, took care of my kids during his big episode. And the police actually wound up coming and arresting him afterward. And that wasn't even because I asked them to arrest him. I was at a point where I just wanted him to leave. Don't even, just make him leave. That's all I needed. But he had a warrant or something, so they wound up arresting him. That was June of 2008. November of 2008 was my annual exam. I always get everything done. It was a routine exam. Got my HIV test the following day because it wasn't a rapid test. The following day, I get a phone call from my doctor. I need you to come back in here. I'm like, okay, well, I don't have any time to take off work, anything like that. So, no, I don't care what you're saying about work. You need to get in here. So I said, oh, goodness. The first thought in my head was, am I pregnant?
Yeah, because that's the first thing you were thinking.
Right, exactly. I'm probably pregnant and this man is gone and he's not going to take care of the baby and Lord knows I don't want a child with him.
Right.
So I went into the doctor's and I sat down and she told me, your HIV test, it came back positive.
What is your first thought?
I went blank. I don't know what my first thought was. But the first thought that I remember thinking was, how long do I have left to live? Because I didn't know anything about HIV. HIV was it's not something that you really talk about unless you're affected by it somehow. Whether you test positive or someone around you test positive or, something like that. Right. It's not just something you pick up the phone or go online and just Google, I wonder what HIV is like, So, fear. It was just fear in so many different ways, from how long do I have left to live to who's going to take care of my kids when I'm gone to, oh my goodness, if I'm not going to die immediately, nobody's ever going to want me. So then I started thinking isolation. All my friends are going to leave me alone. I'm never going to be in a relationship. So many different things regarding fear crossed my mind. So that's what I thought. But even with all those thoughts, I just sat there blank for a second. The doctor looked at me. She said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah." I wasn't crying. I didn't do anything. And I said, "I need to use the bathroom." I get up, I walk in the bathroom, and I think when I looked in the mirror, I saw my face in the mirror and realized that that's when it became real. You know, because before that, I was just floating, and this wasn't real. It was an out-of-body experience or something. Went to the bathroom, saw myself in the mirror. That's when I broke down in tears. And I must have broke down really badly because I don't even really remember that point. Only thing I remember is the doctor coming into the bathroom, helping me off the floor and back into our office. So, yeah.
What do you say to him, or do you say anything to him?
I don't, because actually at that point we weren't speaking anymore. From June of 08 when he left my apartment until November of 08 when I was actually diagnosed, we had cut off all communication. But they do have a partner notification hotline. Contacted that hotline, and they asked for all of your partner's information for the past however many years. So I provided them with his information, and they reached out to him.
Okay.
So to this day, I have no idea.
You have not spoken to him at all?
I've spoken to him once. Actually, not. Did I speak to him on the phone? I think I may have spoken to him on the phone one time. I reached out to him on Facebook a few years back because a mutual friend of ours, had told me that he had just had a child. So my heart was for that child. I reached out to him and told him, I need you to call me. And he called and he asked me how I was doing, and I told him I was great.
So you don't think he knew?
No, I don't think so.
You said that, you know, HIV, this is not something that we talk about.
Yeah.
But you guys are talking.
Yeah.
Why are you talking?
I'm the type of person that loves to help other people. Why not use my experience to help educate other people, especially African American?
Yeah.
Because we don't talk
and that's
about it
and that's
anymore.
Exactly the
really?
reason why we're talking about it, because no one talks about it.
Nobody talks
And
about
somebody needs somebody to talk about it. You know, that's another thing. When I was first diagnosed, I didn't have anybody to turn to. Even regarding support groups. There's a million support groups out here, but and I know Kesha and I, we both share this experience. We've tried support groups, but you go in and the dynamic, you don't fit in anywhere. Because it's either, the dynamic is basically homosexual males, or the women who are in those support groups, most of them they were addicted to drugs in their past, or they contracted HIV in prison, or something like that. That's not our story. You know, I wasn't drug addicted. I don't know what prison is like.
You were in a
that's
relationship.
not my story. Right.
Both of you were in a relationship.
Exactly. So that's why we speak out, because we know what it's like to feel like you're alone, and that your story, you're the only one going through what you're going through. So, you know, we want to let people know that that's not true. We're here.
We're here. Now, what about people's reaction to you? Were you concerned about people's reactions?
No.
No?
I wasn't concerned at all. You know, I've seen this situation as me helping other people. So whatever, if anyone ever said anything, it didn't come across me. It didn't bother me if it did.
Okay. Yeah. And I know Kesha, she was educated prior on it anyway, so.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Me, no.
No, not at
Didn't
all.
know anything about it.
No, why were you educated prior?
My mother, she was going to school to become a nurse practitioner. So what she learned about STDs and HIV and AIDS, she brought it home to us, and she educated us. My first HIV test, I was 14. And after that, you have to start your kids young. Not because you think that they're having sex, but you want to build a routine for them. So when they get older, they don't have that problem to get tested. So at 14, and every year after that, I got tested.
You got tested. Yeah. Wow. So what about the women that are married?
And that's another reason why I speak out, because people think just because they're married, they're safe.
Yeah.
So is there any safety at all, anywhere, at any time?
Getting tested?
Yeah.
Getting
Or
tested.
being abstinent?
And we know that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Those are your only
question.
two safe zones, is just abstinence and being tested if you're not abstinent. That's it.
Wow.
That's it. Protection.
Protection. As a married couple or in a relationship, protection. Still.
And protection doesn't even necessarily, you know, within a marriage doesn't necessarily have to mean using a condom. You know, it just means protecting your family, protecting yourself, protecting your spouse. That's protection. You know, you two going to go get tested on a regular basis together.
Yeah. And we don't do that.
We don't.
And women, you know, sometimes, you know, you're in those situations and where, you know, you just in the heat of the moment and boom.
Yeah.
So what do you say to women? about that.
Yeah, that heat of the moment, boom, positive HIV testing.
That's the real moment right there.
Yeah, you gotta get tested,
Right.
you know, and just as Kesha was saying, once you start your child getting tested on a regular basis from a young age, the same as Kesha started at 14. I started my son, I got his first one at 13, you know, so he'll be in a routine
Of getting
tested, so it's a norm.
Yeah.
We discuss HIV in my house.
But see, that wasn't our norm. I'm a little,
Exactly.
I would say a little older than you guys, but I think I'm a little bit of a lot
Like about
older.
this.
Yeah, but you know, that wasn't our norm growing up. We didn't go. So that is the way
Yeah.
society, that's the norm for society
Right.
today, is to getting tested. But now what I do like to talk about the story outside of the story. Yes, you are HIV positive, yes, but you are doing something with it. You are speaking life.
Yeah.
And tell me about life. Tell me about living. Tell me about hope.
Life, living, and hope. Yeah.
Because people think it's a death sentence, like you said. People, you know, oh, I don't want to go. You know, oh, I can't touch you. Oh,
Yeah.
I can't. No, I can't.
Yeah.
No.
You would be amazed at how many people still feel that way.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't even think, you know, we get that much because of the way we deliver the information.
Okay.
You know, now it's more so if we were afraid of our diagnosis or afraid what may happen or ooh, death, you know, that was on our mind, then that would kind of make people respond that way.
Okay.
But we don't have that, so, but I always say, you know, God, we all know everything happens for a reason. You know, and God will never give us more than we can handle.
That's right.
And as cliche as they may sound, it is so true. You know, I contracted HIV, yes, I did, and it was so devastating in the beginning. But I see it as it's a gift. It was a gift and a curse.
Okay.
You know, but it's been so much more positive than negative in my life since being diagnosed with HIV. You know, first of all, the friends that I've met, the lives that we're able to touch through the speakers of life.
Okay.
You know, and it's awesome. And then also the education that we're able to give our children.
That's
like
important.
I said, it may not be a societal norm to discuss HIV openly, but I know in our households, it's a normal thing. They run and get medication. They run to go get, you know, they know about medication. They go to the doctors with us. We talk about it.
Speaking of medication, though, good days, bad days.
When I first was diagnosed, it was pretty bad because, I mean, Lynette shares it along with me. Every time you pop that pill, it reminds you where it came from. On my part, every time I popped the pill, I thought of my husband sleeping with the other woman. So it was rough. Now it's like I popped the pill and I got another day to be here. I have another day to be with my family. So
yeah, the same thing. It was rough. You know that. The pill is more psychological than anything else.
Okay.
My first medication, I did have a lot of side effects from it, and they wound up switching me. But even with that switch, that doesn't take away the psychological portion of it.
Right.
You know, if you don't have the support that you need.
Right.
So I did go through a lot of depression with the medication, and not as a side effect of the medication, but just a side effect period of life living with HIV. Now. No.
But you live. I like the keyword living.
Living.
And you guys have a fantastic support system.
Yeah.
There are men in your lives that love you, that support you, that are with you, and we are going to bring them in to this episode. We'll be right back. We're back, and we have the husbands joining us in this conversation. So, husbands, please introduce yourselves. We're going to start with you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Shamar. I am the husband of Kesha.
And I am Daniel, and I am the husband of Lynette.
All right, husbands. Shamar, we're going to start with you because Kesha did say that, you know, you guys were married for X amount of years and somebody stepped out and it was you.
Yes.
So how do you feel about that? When she found out that she was HIV positive and you were the one that stepped out, how do you feel about that?
Initially, I was heartbroken, terrified. You know, I felt bad. Unlike her, you know, when it came to HIV and AIDS, I was very uneducated. You know, my family, that was a topic that we just didn't talk about. So, you know, when I got the diagnosis, it was just like, I was terrified. You know, initially, especially in the doctor's office, I believe I had my daughter with me. She was 2 or 3 at the time, and it was just like, couldn't even look her in her face. You know, it was just very, very scary. And then the doctor actually allowed me to go into the room with Kesha, to talk. And like she said, the first word she said was, "It's going to be okay." You know, we still had our rough days, to get over that hump. It was, it was rough, but, she was there, forgiving through the grace of God.
Good. That's love. So, I mean, after, let me wait. So, going through that, because that can destroy, it does destroy many relationships and many marriages. What is the trust and the communication and the love like for you, from you to her today?
At first it was, it was hard. You had to get it back. Because at the time of the diagnosis, because that wasn't the time that it came out, but that that I stepped out. That was the initial. That was the diagnosis. That was the after effect. So we was working on getting all that trust and getting the love back, and then the diagnosis came, and it was almost it was kind of like a step back. It smacked us back a little bit. Because it was rough. And I'm not going to lie to anybody and say that, yes, we're going to love each other and it's going to be okay, just because you say it's going to be okay.
You don't know.
Yeah, you're going to have to work. You got to work and you got to get over that hump. Through the grace of God, it was work, but, prayer, seeking God, and it was work.
Some love.
But, yeah.
Okay. So I'm coming over to the other husband. Husband, tell us your name again.
Daniel.
And so, Daniel, what's your status?
I am HIV negative.
So you met your wife, and she was HIV positive. Did you tell him you were HIV positive when you met him?
Well, we have a long story. We got a long history. I actually initially met Daniel in 2008, a month prior to my diagnosis. But when I met him, we met in the open mic scene, just hanging out. We actually didn't even hang out then. When we first really started being around each other, I was his daughter's hairdresser. So he was bringing his daughter to me to get her hair done every 2 weeks, and eventually we formed a friendship.
He liked you, really, Lynette. That's why he's bringing his daughter.
No, he didn't.
No.
And I didn't like him.
No? Oh,
not at all, not even a little bit.
Okay.
He was in relationships, I was in relationships.
Situationships.
And y'all, that's a plural too. Ships.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would call him and cry about whoever I was dealing with, and I can't stand this and I can't stand it, and the same thing the other way around. So, we formed a friendship that was so close, we called each other brother and sister. He was my brother Dan, and I was his sister Ned.
Really? Okay, so...
And no, I did not tell him back then.
No.
So he didn't know then. I told Daniel in 2012. And we still weren't together. We were still brother and sister. Actually, at the time when I told him, were you married?
I was about to get married at the time, yes.
See? History.
So wait a minute. You guys are married today.
Yes.
We are married today.
But you were about to get married when she told you.
Yes,
Right.
I'm little.
In 2012.
2016. Okay. So your marriage dissolved?
Yes, it was, I guess less than 4 good months.
Okay.
4 good months.
Okay, she wasn't the one.
She was not.
But I don't know. I don't want to touch that.
Right.
I don't know.
She
Okay.
was not.
So, but you had your friend here all the time, and when she first told you she was HIV positive, what'd you say or what'd you think?
The emotions. There was so many different emotions, and earlier that year I found out my father was HIV positive. And then come at this point in time, late in 2012, finding out my best friend was HIV positive, it was a lot. It was definitely a lot. I felt all the emotions of an ignorant person would have, She's been around my kids. Do they have it? They
That's
eating
real,
all the
though.
when you don't know, you don't
Right.
know. So unless you're really going out and finding those things out, you're not going to know. And with my father, I was more so looking at the medical aspect. I wasn't looking at that aspect. My dad said he was good. I went to the doctor with my father. The doctor said he was good. So, all right, my dad's good. He was Superman to me, so nothing could stop him.
So you, at some point, you felt yourself loving her. even with HIV, you found you.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Before that point, I loved it. I was my best friend.
You loved her. Okay.
I loved her.
Okay.
I wasn't in love with her
Wasn't
at that
in
point
love.
in time. Definitely not.
Okay. But now, okay, so do you, when you say, okay, you know, I'm loving her, and you know, I don't know, can I fall in love with her because this might affect my life? I don't know. What was that like?
Well, at the time when she told me that she was HIV positive, I was in a relationship, about to get married. I got married, I think a month after I found out, and I still had no thoughts of being with her. I never did prior, so it wasn't that I was thinking, oh, she's HIV positive. You know, I don't know if I want to be in a relationship with her.
Right, it wasn't even a thought at all.
I want to ask you guys, are you all Christian?
Yes. Yes.
That was a resounding yes.
Yes.
And I ask you that because, you know, in the Christian, I'm a Christian also, Christian faith, and you know, God is a healer.
Yes, he is.
We believe that God is a deliverer.
Yes.
Are you believing God for healing?
Yes.
Yes.
I always say, I know I'm not going to have to take medication forever.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not.
I have a different. I truly believe that, you know, God will heal us. Funny thing about me is though I never asked him to. I said never. I never asked him to take this away. You know, after we came to our senses and got out of our little rut, we knew that it was a purpose, and this is what we're doing. We're following His purpose. We're ministering to people. We're touching people's lives. So even if it don't come, we're good. We're fine. So if you know He never takes us away, we know we're walking by His will. We're doing what He called us to do. So
Yes, and you know, I'm HIV negative, but I can truly and honestly say that HIV was the greatest gift I've ever had, because the people that I've met, the lives that we're able to touch because of it, and to know we're good. God got us covered.
Yes, He
so
does.
good.
Ooh, y'all are awesome. Y'all too. You know, my girls, I'm on them, but y'all are awesome. So now, this AIN That Chick is about ministry, and it's a movement. I do want you to speak. We're going to start with the men. No, we're going to finish. We're going to end with the men, simply because the men, the anchors. Ladies, I do want you to speak to someone, a wife or someone in your situation. She married, may have been with her husband, boyfriend for X amount of years. I want you to speak to someone. What would you say to them?
I would say that whatever trials and tribulations that you go through as a married individual, couple, take your problems to God. You know, God is a true God. He can take your test and turn it into a testimony.
Let me ask you, I don't know if you shared your situation with your girlfriends back then. Did your friends encourage you to leave your husband?
No.
No.
They knew how much I loved him.
If
If you have friends that tell you to leave your husband, then they're not your friends.
Wow. Because I just knew that would be a resounding yes. Wow. Speak to someone that's been out there, you know, in ships, situationships, relationships, in abusive situations. Knowing somebody's stepping out on them. What would you say to her?
You are greater than. You are greater than. You're greater than. Whatever it is that you're feeling at this moment, you're greater than some man putting his hands on you. You're greater than whatever led you to believe that that's what you deserve. You're greater than whatever arguments you've gotten into. You're greater than any baggage that you feel you're carrying that may be causing him to put his hands on you. You're just greater than, and I just want to encourage you to step out of that situation. You know, walk away from that situation, and you know, just find someone that you can trust to talk to about it, as well as, you know, if you do find yourself, if you are HIV positive, find someone to talk to. You know, one of the most important things I always say is to learn to take back your power, and that's with anything. That's HIV. That's anything. Learn to take back your power. One of the things that I had to go through was I let other people have power over me with HIV. They used to use it against me. People put that information out on Facebook at one point that I was HIV positive when I wasn't ready to put that information out. You know, so they had power over me.
Right.
Because they would call me, I would go through things, I would be depressed and everything. They had power over me, but once I learned that I was HIV positive for a reason, and I learned to just go ahead and speak out and go tell people, yes, I am HIV positive. Now, sit down and let me tell you some more about HIV.
Right.
Now I have that power back.
Wow.
You can't use that against me.
That's like
So
freedom.
take back your power.
Take back your power. Now, to the husbands that are here, I do want you to close us out and it's, open, speak to someone. What would you say? Whatever you want to say.
I would speak to the young men. I know coming up in this society is not easy. You have a lot of things, social media, TV. They make it seem like running around and being with different women, and that's the thing to do, and not, respecting women and loving your wives. I would speak to them. It is absolutely 100% cool to have one wife,
Yes.
one woman, to love that woman unconditionally.
Yeah.
That's what I would say to them. That is absolutely cool.
That's
And I would also like to speak to my wife. I love you.
They just okay. I'm having my moment off. Okay, Mr. Daniel.
Me, I would like to speak to the men and the women out there who may be HIV positive, may be going through something that they feel as though is nothing that no one can do to help them, is no one that's ever going to want them because of whatever baggage they may think they have. I just want you to know that God is greater than all of that.
Yes.
And it's not the end just because you have been diagnosed with HIV, you have cancer, you've been abused, you have any kind of issues that you think will keep anyone from loving you the way that you need to be loved. You will be. Everything is okay. And the Speakers of Life, what we do is all about that, and that's inspiring each and every one of you out there that whatever it is, you can get through it, and we are living proof. And having that support system, I encourage you all to find someone that you can talk to that can relate to what you're going through. And we're here. We're here.
You guys, I just want to say thank you so much for being so bold and beautiful and courageous and just being open and sharing. And for you, I want to thank you for being men.
Yes.
Just want to thank you for being men. And mistakes, not mistakes, but just being men and loving and supporting and encouraging and speaking. I so appreciate you guys
Thank you.
so much. Thank you guys so much for sharing on I Ain't That Chick. We're going to say goodbye to everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Want to find out more about I Ain't That Chick? Visit our website at www.iaintthatchick.com.